Welcome to the manager's view, and really pleased to say that joining me, of course, is I suppose it's a bit wrong saying the new Harlow Town manager when you've been manager now for about a year now and still ain't played a game.
December. Yeah, December. Mid-December I came back and was only here for 2 weeks. I think we've done four sessions, and it was all shut down again. So yeah, as well as I'm back. I haven't really been back as of yet. So yeah, looking forward to next week.
But you must be really sort of biting at the leash almost to get going again. And I mean, you got to that situation where you say you came in sort of December. And I think it was only about a week afterwards, was it, when everything got shut down? And,
yeah,
and
a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So four sessions I think it was, and then they shut us down. So yeah, it's been a long time coming. But we're back. We're back next Tuesday, 15th. For the start of pre-season, so yeah, really looking forward to getting back and getting things in place. Yeah.
So I mean, people have seen. I mean, go straight into it. I mean, you speak with yourself though. I mean, I suppose you said you're happy to be back and all the rest of it, and a lot of people are really pleased in the club and fans as well. Really pleased to see you back, and it's just great to see you looking so well and being back and ready to take the reins again.
Yeah, so it was no secret that I needed some time out. I needed a break. I had that break, best part of a year, near enough. I feel refreshed. So I was here for 9 years previous. I played here for 5 years. So it's like your home. It's like another. It's like my second home to me. So when I had a conversation with Tom and spoke about coming back, it was a no-brainer because I was at the stage where I was going to start looking for jobs, start putting myself forward and about. So when we had the conversation, it was a no-brainer for me to come back here because, as I say, this is like my second home.
Well, I think people saw how much passion you had for the club when we did that My Harlow, My Life. I think there's a lot, so many comments that I got after that interview was just incredible. The amount of comments and people just protecting me and saying, great to see Danny back and et cetera, et cetera. And you can see the passion he's still got for the club and so forth from there. So I think people were like, I say all the ones we did, I think it's probably one of the ones that most people sort of sent me messages about and said that it was fantastic to see you looking so well and and hopefully you'll be back and managing the team. But I mean, with the side for this year and the league, and as Tim has just said, it seems to be a lot that's changed and we're really starting afresh. We've got Tim that's just been appointed as new chairman. We'll get your views on that later as well. And new league, new manager coming back in, new assistant manager coming in, and it just feels like it's a complete. Someone's hit the reset button.
I think that's exactly it. I mean, we've had conversations, myself and Tim and Tom and different people. That's the exact way that we want to treat it. As in, this is a complete fresh start. When you think what's gone on in the world over the past 18 months and. Unfortunately, people have lost loved ones and people have been seriously ill. But in a way, I think it gives everyone time to take a step back, look at where we was, what we want to try and achieve going forward, and how we're going to do it. And I think it's actually been a little bit of a blessing in disguise that we've had that period off for everyone. That we've all been able to look at it, and the way that we're going to approach it is a fresh start. I know I was here for 9 years and. You're always going to have that. It's always going to be there. But the way I'm looking at it is this is a new beginning for me, as if I was going into a brand new football club, and I think the whole club is trying to treat it like that. Now there's a lot been done here. I mean, you've got the gym that's been put together. I mean, that's an unbelievable facility, not just for the local community, but obviously for us as a first team that we can use it for rehab and different bits and pieces. But yeah, we just feel that we want a complete fresh start right across the board. And that's all the things that are being put in place now, as you say, with Tim as chairman, myself coming back, and there'll be one or two little new things that are going to happen going forward.
And what's your thoughts? We touched on Tim. I mean, thoughts on his appointment. I mean, I've known him for 40 plus years, so for me it was a great appointment. But
listen, I think it's a brilliant appointment. From when Tim came back in with yourself all them years ago and was just working in and around the kids. But since he's been here full time, what he's done for this football club is nothing short of astonishing. And a lot of it's not seen, obviously, because it's behind the scenes and whatever else. But he's one of the most proactive people that I've ever come across, and if something needs doing, then it gets done. It's not next week, next month, next year, bang, it's done. And it'd be great to have him involved with the football side of the club a lot more than what he has in the past. And I think, as I say, I think it's a great appointment, and I'm really pleased to be able to. I mean, I'm close with Tim anyway, but it'd be great to work closer with him on the football side of it. Yeah.
You asked him to be proactive with the checkbook.
You've got to give it time. He's only just started, isn't it?
But I mean, I'll say to Tim. I mean, one of the most exciting things for me was coming down on, the other week when the announcements were made of the players and staff, etc., and coming down here and Tim's on the guessing game. You never guess who the assistant manager is, etc. And I suppose it'd be wrong of me not to ask, but I mean, that was when I came down and saw that, that gentleman's face here, I was absolutely ecstatic. I mean, how did that come about with Darren and getting Darren involved?
Well, I spoke to Darren a few years ago. At the time, he was assistant at Brentwood with a friend. It wasn't so much about him coming in then; it was just a general chat of how he was, and he was always someone that was in my mind going forward. And for me personally, anyway, when you're looking for an assistant, one of the biggest things you've got to have is trust. When I say that, I mean that when you're not around, that they're promoting what you want and how you want it done. And when I think back to when he played for me, he was the captain that year. It was the year we got beat by Whittam in the final. But he was always promoting what I wanted. He was a great leader. But one of the biggest things for me is he's one of the funniest people I've come across in football. And I think that can be quite a good blend. People know me, I'm quite serious in and around players and things. It's just the way I am. But he would be good with that, that difference, that break up. So as well as his knowledge of the game, as well as the respect and his willingness to win, I just thought it would be a really good blend with myself and him. And I spoke to him a few weeks back, explained to him what we was looking to do here. And he said, "Yeah, definitely be interested." He came down, we had a chat, and it was almost sort of like as if we'd gone back sort of 5 years, and I haven't seen him for a little while anyway. But I've got a lot of time, a lot of respect for him, and I think again he'll be a great asset to the side. Yeah.
So he's going to be a good cop to your bad cop, yeah.
That's the thought process. But I've seen Darren in changing rooms and things at half time when things haven't been going our way and things like that. When he played and when he needs to be serious, and he can be serious as well. So I just think he'll be really good in and around the players. Yeah.
Well, those My Harlow, My Life seemed to work quite well, didn't they? Because it was almost like people were looking for jobs and stuff all the way through that. There was yourself, there was Darren, there was Mr. Edie, there was Fabs, there was Junior, and everybody's back. So, but I mean, with the players, I mean, was that something that you wanted to do? From when seeing sort of like, I suppose how we were struggling, in the last sort of part of the season we played, and then was that to try and get some more experience into the squad, and then maybe build around that with youngsters?
Yeah, I think I had a conversation with Tom a couple of months back, whenever it was now, and we sort of decided the way that we wanted to go, and what he said to me was true. We've had a couple of tough years, especially the last 18 months with everything that's gone on, and we want to try and bring smiles back on people's faces in and around the football club. So we spoke about putting a side together that was going to be capable of challenging. So from my point of view, looking at that, you look at the squad that was here, no disrespect, but that was never going to be a squad that was capable of doing that. So we knew that we had to bring in quite a lot of new faces. But what I didn't want to do, I didn't want to have to bring in loads of new faces and then have to spend that whole time with them all gelling and understanding them. This is the way we work, this is the way we do things. So by bringing back the players that we've brought back, we're sort of a few months ahead of where we would have been if we'd have just brought in however many new faces, which we could have done. Yeah. But you look at them players, they know the club, the supporters, love all of them players that we've brought back. They're loved by all the supporters, which is a good thing because there's a relationship there for them straight away with them. They know how I work, they know how I like things done. And if you look at the experience that they've got, then there's a side capable there. For me, in my opinion, that can go and have a challenge next season.
I mean, again, just speak to Tim and saying the same thing. The players have been announced. The players have been on there announced. The actual coaching staff's been announced, and you'll always get somebody with some kind of a negative, statement or whatever else about whoever. But I'm all across the social media, and all the rest of it, and the excitement is incredible.
Yeah.
The excitement right across the board. There's been no negative comments, no nothing.
I think that obviously comes from what that group of players achieved there, and that's what I'm going back to what I was saying earlier. That's what we wanted to try and achieve. We want to bring that excitement back. We want to bring smiles back on people's faces. We want all the supporters together and just singing and the way that they was. And I think that by getting that group of players together, as I say, that gives you that little bit of a head start rather than bringing in a complete new group again that no one knows and having to get them to trying to gel and then trying to get them to have relationships with the supporters. It's already there. It's already in place. So yes, I mean just seeing them back together again. And I know that they sort of stay in touch, but actually seeing them together again, it was brilliant. It was like they'd never been, apart.
It just literally felt like a family come back together.
It was great. So yeah, I think that for me, the honeymoon period of all that is over now. We're back next week, and it's time to start working and time to start preparing. Because we want to make sure that when we start the season, we can hit the ground running.
So some of the fans might be a bit worried that we've announced it early and stuff. Are you 100% confident that you've got them nailed down and those ones will still be here when we play the first game, hopefully the 14th and not the 7th?
Yeah, I mean, look, you can never be 100% because you can't register players till I think it's later this month.
Yeah.
But with the relationship that I have with them players, I'd like to think that my word's my word in what we've done with them. Within their deal, and their word is their word. That yes, I'm on board. You can never be 100%, unless you're getting someone to sign a proper contract. You can never be 100%. But yeah, I'm 99% sure that come the start of the season, all them players that we've announced will be there ready. Yeah.
So what's your feelings though? I mean, you come in and said it's a completely new start, but I mean, straight away you come in and everybody's expecting us to be playing Isthmian and South Central next year, and before we know what's going on, we're playing in the Southern League. So I mean, has that sort of changed your mindset to what you need to do, or is it going to be exactly the same?
I actually sort of like it because it's new teams, just like it was when we went into the South Central. New teams, don't really know a lot about them. They don't really know a lot about you. You're going to new grounds. And you always, I mean, the biggest question is always, we're travelling. But when I actually sat down and looked at it, you've got 19 away fixtures. 12 of them are all within an hour. 4 of them, okay, they're a little bit of a distance, sort of hour and a half, 2 hours. I think one of them maybe, but it's all part and parcel of football. I think that's what makes football. So, yeah, while some people might be a little bit disappointed, and I think it's change. People always change. Change sometimes is good, and I'm actually pretty happy that we've gone where we've gone.
Well, I must admit, I'm really excited by it because you've got some of the people in there, and we've got a chat Wednesday with the vice chairman, or soon to be chairman, hopefully as well. Anthony's a top guy, and it looks like it's going to be a great little league, and you still got your friends around as such, if you know what I mean. You've got Waltham Abbey, you've got Ware and Hertford,
5 local derbies. Garden City, which is just up the road. So that's what I'm saying to you. If you look at the 12 teams, I say they're all sort of within an hour. 5 or 6 of them are sort of 20 minutes away. So when you actually sit down and look at it, you've got four sort of longer journeys, if you like, but that's no different than like years ago when we used to go to Wroxham on a Tuesday night. So it's no different, and I think it's a positive thing rather than a negative.
Oh, absolutely. Do you think you're looking forward to League Cup draw then Truro away on a Tuesday night?
I've done Truro away on a Tuesday night when I played the guy about 4 o'clock in the morning. And again, for me, it's just part and parcel of football. It's what makes your team sometimes than distance journey. So whoever we get, and we deal with it as and when we need.
So with that though, I mean, with the actual sort of knowing everybody in sort of like the South Central League and maybe when we was in the North League as well, you knew everybody that was in and around you and what maybe how they were going to play, how they were going to set up, etc., etc. Does that mean that yourself and Darren, got to do a bit of homework on some of these other sides just to,
to a point? I mean, obviously, because there's been no football for such a long time now. I mean, I've watched about 7 or 8 teams in that division so far, just getting videos off of YouTube and things like that. But that was 7 months ago, so you can get an idea. But so much could have changed. So I think it's more of a fresh sort of start for everyone. And I think we can all sort of predict maybe what's going to happen, who's going to do this and who's going to do that. And I honestly don't believe that anyone can predict anything this year until we're sort of a little way into the season to see what teams have got and what they haven't got, and obviously the COVID's affected teams in different ways and financial ways. So I just think it's a fresh start for everyone. But yeah, obviously any information that we can get, obviously we'll do our best to get and look at different things. But we've always sort of been a side that have concentrated more on ourselves than worried about other things. Yeah.
I mean, do you think that COVID would have affected a lot of clubs this year? Because I mean, we spoke about it with me and Keith on the show that we do, that we thought that we'd probably lose quite a lot of clubs, but people seem to have coped with it quite well. In that side.
Yeah,
of it,
I think the way that clubs have coped with it has been fantastic. But I think it will be more in the summer. Sort of give it a month or so into pre-season, you'll start getting a better idea of how it's affected clubs, because you'll then find out. I think there'll be mass movement in the summer with players, because there'll be some players that won't be getting what they was getting before, or they won't be getting what they was promised, and I think you'll get a lot of movement. But you'll still get your 3, 4, 5 sides from each league, I believe, that will still be your teams that are paying the better money. But I think for me, it's just a case of from a broader football point of view, just let's hope that everyone can get back playing again, and the clubs can start building themselves back up, and we don't lose no one, because that would be a terrible shame.
So, I mean, from your point of view, from when when you was manager the last time, I mean, to now, is there something that you've looked back at have you spent time looking back at the 9 years you was here previously, and then coming in this time, look at it and go, I'm going to try and do that differently this time round? Is there stuff that you've looked at and think, maybe players wise, fans wise, club wise, is there things that you've looked at and thought, I could probably tweak that a little bit and do it that way, or you sort of
there's always things that you feel you can do differently, even like when you are actually managing. But I think I said it to you when we did the interview before, when you're out of the actual environment, it gives you a much better perspective of different things that you've done, different things that you haven't done that you might change and you might do different. So yeah, there'll be little things different, but I am who I am, and I do things the way that I like things done. And you always get people that are on board with that, and you'll always get a few that are not so on board with it. But in general, yeah, there's different things. I always felt that I had a good relationship with the supporters. Probably tailed off a little bit towards the end, for different reasons. But if I'm being honest, I don't really want to talk about the past, because look towards yourself. Yeah. But like I said before, we're treating this as like a new beginning now, and that's what I want. That's what I want to concentrate on. So yeah, building relationships with people, different things within the team that I want to try and do differently, that will make us that little bit better, that little bit more professional. We've always tried to be professional, that, but just little things that will make little differences, because loads of little things add up to a big thing.
I mean, you're looking forward to that first game, home game, especially league games, when you've got that sort of, what I've heard loads of people turn around to me, and you ask them about Harlow, and the only one thing they ever speak about at Harlow is the crowd. Yeah. And behind the back of the dugouts, and that sort of crowd, sort of led by Buddha, of course, and others. I mean, is that what you're really looking forward to? Getting that sort of.
That's what I want. That's what the team needs, because again, over the past year or 18 months, or when we was playing, I know that there was sort of a little, divide, if you like, that there was some there and some ended up behind the goal. And as I said, like we want to treat this as a new beginning. So. What we're looking for, what I'm asking for, is can then people put their differences aside, or can they sort their differences out? Can they get back together behind the dugouts and be that force that they was. Because again, I said it to you, you know, I don't think that they realise how much of an impact they can have on a game for us. Not only lifting our players, but deflating opposition players as well, just from their sheer noise. So yeah, I would love that. I would love to see that happen. For them to all be back together again. You know, the way that they was. I understand that we all have arguments and different things happen, etc. But as I say, we want a new beginning, and that new beginning is everyone, and so that obviously includes supporters as well.
I mean, you say about the fans and almost being like the 12th man. I still remember something that Jody spoke to me about before, and he said to me, he said that year when Tim's first year, when we went to Haybridge, he said, Dave, he said, I think we lost it when we came out of the tunnel. He said when the fans were literally all there with the drum and the sirens and banging on the top of the thing and all the rest of it. And I think that's what you got back to. But it's the same sort of question I suppose I asked Tim just beforehand. I suppose one of the final questions was for those fans that have sort of drifted away in the last sort of 18 months, 2 years or whatever else. What would you like to say to them to get them to come back? I mean, what would be the thing? What would be the thing you'd like to say to those guys to try and get them back in supporting the club? And
obviously they've had their grievances with different things and different things the way that have gone on that they've not been particularly happy about, and you know, I understand that, but you know, we have good times, we have bad times, and that don't just happen here. That happens at most football clubs across the country at all different levels. You have good and bad times, and yes, you know, they got bad, but when you think back, there was more good than bad. And I'd like to think that they would come back and give the club that another chance, because by them not being here, all it hurts is the club, and it's the club that they love. So I would ask them, please come back. You know, come back. Don't listen to things, you know, social media and that. Come back, see it for yourself. I'm always someone, you know, I take things on face value. I make my own mind up, and I would like for them to do that, because some of them have been away for quite a long time, and I know things have not been great, but the tide's about to turn. And as I said, it's a fresh start. We want to go and have a proper go at it this year to go and compete at the top end of the league. So yeah, come back, see for yourselves, and if you come back and then you look at it and you think, actually, you know, this is not for me, fine, no problem. But don't not come back based on what other people say.
So one of the things that, again, I asked Timmy to, no, leave that question to you, so I'll leave it for you. Surprises. I mean, we've had some great players come back. We've got some of the legends coming back. I call them young legends, not necessarily old legends, but the young legends coming back in the likes of Fabs and the Machine and Junior, etc., etc. Any more surprises that that may be coming in the next few weeks or next few months?
There will be a few more to announce. Obviously, I've got to wait on them because they're not quite done yet. But we're almost virtually there. We are literally just looking for a couple of more positions now. So yeah, in the next couple of weeks, I'd like to think that we might be able to have them done and in place, and then we'll be able to announce. But it'll be great to be able to go into pre-season with your squad virtually. And you know, if you look at the last couple of years, we've always been hunting for 5-6 players during the course of pre-season. So to have the whole squad virtually done, it will give us a great opportunity to get in place what we want to get in place during pre-season. So, as I say, come the 14th of August, we're ready, and we're ready to start the campaign.
So with that though, when of course you organised all your pre-season friendlies, I think at that time we were expecting to be in the Eastern League. Does that change anything for you, that because we've gone into the Southern League? Do you then, as a manager, look at that and go, well, there might be different teams that we need to play because we're going into that league, or does it just
not really? I mean, if you look back again over the past X amount of years, you know, pre-seasons, we've had quite a few pro teams. We've had the Orients and West Hams and Southends and different people. And what I said they wanted to do this year was they wanted to play more teams in and around our level, because it gives you a better gauge of where you're at and what you possibly may need to change and not need to change. Whereas, you know, don't get me wrong, to play the pro teams is great. You know, it brings a bit of income in, and it's a great game for supporters and whatnot. But basically what you do isn't chasing the ball. So you don't really get enough out of it. So yeah, we wanted to make sure that we had a pre-season in place where we're playing against teams within and around our level, so we could get a better gauge from an earlier point of view of where we're at and what we possibly need to do to change anything. But no, I'm still happy with what we've got, and we don't need to change anything for pre-season.
Well, listen, Danny, I know it's not your cup of tea, same as Tim's, this sort of thing, but listen, mate, thank you very much for joining us, and hopefully we can do this on a regular basis to update everybody, fans from your side of it, just the communication from you to the fans, and we can do that maybe once a month, and we can get you answer a few of their questions as well.
Sure.
In a couple of months.
Anytime.
Magic. Thanks, Danny.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks for your time.